everyone, and welcome to Grip Lock Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. And we're here today on a Thursday for a little Preserve preview. Tournament starts tomorrow. Back on the Pro Tour, we had the Silver Series, which is kind of an off week. It's not really a full Pro Tour event. And then we had the Match Play event, which is an exhibition event. So kind of also an off week. So it's been a little while since we've had a full-on Pro Tour event. There's obviously a lot of other storylines going down here, but let's jump right into the course here first. It is on an old golf course, but we actually had a question on debate night that I thought was a really good question. But after watching the coverage, I don't really think it is that good of a question because well, let me just explain it. So they tweeted at us at me and said, you know, Preserve's on an old golf course, but why is it never tied to the golf course tournaments? Like, why do people never refer to it as a golf course tournament? Well, I think it's because it's similar to North Cove, what we played, where, like, yes, it is an old golf course, but it's only kept up for disc golf now. Yeah. So, like, the fairways that are cut in, the way the grass is mowed, all of that just says disc golf. So you don't... I went back and watched some of the Jomez coverage from last year this morning.
I literally watched all the flyovers this morning as the course. But go ahead.
But it doesn't look like a golf course, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so the big difference is, for starters, even with like the Portland Open this year and whatnot, they're getting better at designing disc golf courses on even active golf courses. They're getting better at it now to where it doesn't feel as much this way. Because back in the day, it was like
you're
throw
the
fairway. Hey, look, the basket's by a green that's OB. It was like every single one. It was so lazy, it was bad. They're getting better at that already, but when the golf course is still intact and you can see the greens and the tee boxes and the fairways, it feels like you're intruding on the course. So it looks so unnatural. But as soon as those greens and tee boxes and everything are grown the same length, they're gone. Like when we were playing North Cove, there were certain places where I was like, "Oh, I can see exactly how this golf hole went." Like that, but that was from somebody who had played a lot of golf and kind of knew how golf courses lay out. And it wasn't because of the grass; it's because I kind of just saw the shape of things. But it blends in much more. And I think that the Preserve in general, I mean, the holes that Preserve are quite unique. They use all of the tree lines and kind of back areas off the side of where the golf course would have been. I don't think any of the holes, I would say there's maybe 2 or 3 that play a little like throw down the fairway and then take a right turn or a left turn or whatnot. But for the most part, all the par 3s are pretty creative. The water carries are creative. I think it's a well-designed course. And yeah, I don't think, especially since now it looks so much different since it did when it was a golf course. It's almost indistinguishable at this point.
Yeah, it seems like they've made a few changes from last year to this year. Looking at the caddy book and also talking to Brody some. Brody mentioned the par 3 with the rock wall. He said he thought it moved closer. And looking at the caddy book, it looks
10?
like... I think so. The par 3,
where it's like there's like a rock wall.
There's
edge
literally like a retaining wall edge. Yeah. So before it was tucked back in, so you had the full circle. Okay. On the caddy book, it looks like the rock wall's at like 20 feet now.
Push it closer.
So the basket's a lot closer to the rock wall, which is going to make players make a little bit more of a decision.
Yeah.
On that hole.
It's a scary one.
Other one that's very notable is hole 7, the par 5, that a lot of players, notably Eagle, Paul, Ricky on the lead card last year, all went to the left side, and Matteo went across to the right side.
Yes.
And there's that water
there's a double
there.
option.
There's not anymore. So now the whole left side's OB. So it's forcing PGA players to take the less popular option, which is what Matteo threw, to the right side, which I think makes the hole a little bit harder because basically...
The left was very easy to bail
The left
out.
side was like, throw on hyzer. If your disc flips up a little bit, great. If it doesn't, you're fine. Who cares? The right side was you had to commit to getting the disc over.
And if once you got in bounds on the left side, the throw across was really short, and then the upshot was pretty short. So it was a pretty soft
you could
birdie.
even, if you were too far back, you'd even lay up a second time on the left side and then go up.
That's right.
Because that's where Eagle tried going. He went big off the tee, tried going big with a big flex shot, and then flexed into the lake that's like not even on the hole. Yeah. Last year, and had to throw from like a weird spot.
I do like double option tee shots, like with the par 5s and with water especially. But when one of them is just not getting chosen, then I respect the...
Well, I think it's a little change overall, but it makes the whole play a little harder. Yeah. Because I think it was basically everyone's just bailing out to the left.
Because then on your second shot, if you're not reaching, the water's on the left.
You either have to throw a forehand. Right. Or if you're pushing, you have to make sure this doesn't flex out.
That's a harder shot.
It made the hole a lot harder.
Yeah.
Those two were the most notable ones that I could definitely tell looking at the caddy book. The rest of the course, I didn't really see too many other changes, but it's tough to tell when looking at a caddy book.
Yeah, it is.
There could be a whole nother new hole in there that I just don't remember. So in general, though, it seems like the course is going to be playing a few strokes harder. in general, because I think between those two, that already makes it a few strokes. And if they made those changes, it's likely they move some tee pads and baskets other places.
This will be interesting because I think we've noticed the trend this year that scores have been worse in general, like winning scores. But I believe I can fact check myself, but I think winner was above 40 under last year.
It was around 36. It was about 12
or that
under.
was 2 years ago. Was better.
So, well, if you remember,
Nico
back
won
2
at like
years ago,
41 under.
Yeah, if you remember 2 years ago, the Preserve. We talked about this with Brody on debate night. The Preserve was the tournament that brought up the whole conversation of like disc golf needs to be harder because there was no scoring separation. Players were just shooting like 15 under, and it was crazy.
Last year though, still 36. But
last year was averaging 12. I think it might have been 35 under. I know Ricky and Paul shot 11 under the last round, and that was like the hot round last round.
Yeah, that's closer part. I do remember the first year it was a big deal.
I would imagine this year it's probably going to be closer to like 30.
Because didn't somebody have a 17 under that first year?
So.
Yeah, that was kind of when we first started talking about that, like how like, wow, this is just like the softest event there is. But yeah, I don't remember it being last year. It wasn't as much of a talking point.
No, because they definitely made changes, and it seems like they made changes again this year.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be interesting to watch. But one thing that was looking like it was going to be a factor on debate night when we talked about the Preserve a little bit, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be a factor now, is the weather. It's still going to be somewhat windy. We're talking like 15-mile-an-hour winds at the height. So it's windy enough that it'll have a slight effect, but it was going to be that windy and rain.
Okay.
The rain's pushed out. There's a chance of rain on day 2, but with how it's gotten pushed out, it might not rain at all.
Yeah.
So it's looking like decent weather for the event. It's definitely going to be windy, and it looks like it gets windier as it goes on. I think Sunday's the windiest day as of right now, but all of that could change. But the weather looks fine out there. Hot, sunny, and it's the perfect time for Ricky to make his return. The defending champ is officially going to be back out on the course, ready to play. It seemed like I forget where I saw him post, but it seemed like he was ready last week.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like he was,
I think he gave it
he
an
was ready
week.
to get going. So it sounds like we're going to have close to 100% Rick.
I hope so. I hope he, it seems like he took his time. It's hard to know the extent of like how much he needed to recover, but I hope that he's back and we're just done with it. I hope it's just a non-issue from now on, because like you hate seeing injuries, especially from a guy like Rick who is in his prime, and like this is when he needs to be seizing that.
Yeah.
So I hope he plays well this week. Heck, I hope he wins. That'd be great. And then knee's just a non-issue for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Now on the flip side of that coin, the other defending champion, Kristen Tatar, won by I believe it was like 10 strokes last year.
Yeah.
She was supposed to return, but her partner Silver Lot has tested positive for COVID. So even though she tested negative, according to her Instagram post, she's being cautious and not traveling over here to play in the Preserve. So we're not going to see her return quite yet. I also saw someone in Discord. I don't know where they saw this because I didn't see it in her Instagram post, but she might have posted somewhere else or I might have missed it. They said that she was dealing with something in her arm, some type of nerve thing.
Oh, did not.
I'm going to pull up her Instagram post again just to see if I like somehow skipped it. But I know, but it might have been posted somewhere else because she put... she's posting about her win at the course there, and I only see the post about COVID. So, unless I'm missing something,
who knows?
Yeah,
where that info came from, but hope not.
Not making any plans in the near future right now. So we're not sure when we're going to see Kristen again, but hopefully Silver is able to recover quickly, and hopefully Kristen never actually gets it. That would be great.
I wonder how big the tour. It's such a curious thing. Like Kristen now being probably she's definitely top 3 highest paid FPO players.
Yes.
Making a very healthy living at this point. At what point is there a decision made to move to the U.S. permanently? No, if it becomes where, let's say, because now in Latitude, obviously as a company, based out of Europe, there's events for her to play over there. But where does it get to the point where if it became a consistent issue that she couldn't, going back and forth, like that was tough on her, and it was tough for her to like get to all the events? When does that become like Latitude?
Well, we saw that with Simon, right?
When he was in Germany,
and he moved to Massachusetts.
Yeah, I mean
that was semi-recent.
Yeah, it's been a few years since
because he was
a couple years, like 2 years.
That's been
longer
than
than that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been longer than that.
I'm pretty sure.
I feel like I remember him moving to Massachusetts.
You do, because I remember it, and you've been playing longer than me. But it's been quite a while, I think. But it was because before that he was still doing most of the tour, but he was just his home was in Germany.
Yeah.
Then he decided to move over here.
Obviously, I'm suggesting, like, yeah, she would probably leaving behind friends and family. Like, it's a huge decision, but it's just one of those things where it's like, at what point does like the need to be on the U.S. tour, and because you're making really good money to be playing on tour, like when does that become like, maybe I should think about moving over to the U.S. Because she's on a guaranteed money deal, like. I don't know.
It's definitely an interesting
I'm sure
question.
it's crossed her mind. Like,
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's just an interesting one because we haven't seen that yet, really.
On the other side as
On the
well,
FPO.
Evelina and Henna will be making their return here. Now, what are we going to see out of them? Who knows? They've only played one event since the Champions Cup, and they went 1-2 at that event, with Evelina winning by 11 strokes. And the big stat here was 82% C1X putting to take her to that win.
Her putting was plenty good enough to have gotten her.
82% C1X is
very solid.
typically
Solid.
like the higher end of FPO.
And all she had to do with how well she throws, when she had her first stint on the tour this year, was just putt at all. Like,
yeah, well, that's
just
what it seemed
something.
Like Henna that's what she was still struggling with over there. I think she putted like is in the upper 40% C1X over at this. I think it was a Euro Tour event or something. But yeah, I mean, played one event. No, there's no way to tell because like Evelina did have moments where she was a streaky good putter.
Yeah.
And she had moments where she put it together. So this could just be where she just had one of those moments for the tournament.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it could be something where as quickly as it came, it could go. But it is encouraging to see it.
It's tough because when I look at the course, I'm not convinced it's a thrower's course because...
I am.
Well, there's distance out there, but there's not like there is some natural OB, but like it's not a roped off course. I just think that putting is I think it's gonna be one of those events where the people that are getting their 40 footers to drop, like that's gonna be a huge separator. Seizing the opportunities when you have it, because I think that it's gonna be I don't know about the FPO, but I think there's gonna be a lot of birdies just in general at this tournament. So I think that putting, like anytime you have a tournament where the winner, comes in, like Kristen won at 19 under last year, you got to be making putts. Like you can't just be throwing well.
When I looked at stats from last year on MPO and FPO, if you went by who putted the best and like putting, like strokes gained putting percentages, stuff like that, the number of where those people finished were all over the place.
Yeah,
like some people were in the top 10, some people were in like 50th.
Well,
because if you're putting for a 7, it doesn't matter if you're 100%.
Well, let me put it this way: if she is putting, like she has been, then yes, clearly that's going to be enough. I'm saying she can't afford to go back to what she was when she was here.
Well, no, you're never going to win a tournament putting 20%.
Yeah.
C1X, 30% C1X. But you can win tournaments if you're putting 50%, but like every putt you miss is for a birdie and every putt you make is for a birdie.
Yeah.
And then it's like it doesn't really matter what your putting percentage is if every look is for birdie or par and you're hitting the pars and hitting some of the birdies, especially like FPO. The winner was 19 under. She's not going to be here. Next place down was only 9 under, 3 under per round. And we're looking at the course being a little more difficult. So like when you take Kristen out of the field, like 19 under is still going to be on the table because players are that good. But when you take Kristen out of the field last year, 9 under won this tournament. And 9 under, with the course playing a little harder now, it's safe to say that 9 under, let's just give it only 1 stroke per round. That's a 6 under par. You can putt pretty bad and still shoot 2 under per round out there if you're throwing the disc well.
Yeah, I mean we'll see. I agree. You definitely can make up a lot with throwing. I'm just not. I don't know. I'm not completely convinced that it's going to be her event.
At the end of the day, yeah, you have to put the disc in the basket.
Yeah.
To win. You can't. You can't win if the disc never goes in the basket.
I think it's just hard for me to get on board with somebody who's such a streaky putter. Like I'm gonna need to see some proof, I guess, is basically all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, let's get into some keys to victory because we're kind of talking about it anyways, which is funny because my number 1 key to victory is throw the disc well because I think this is my exact quote was, "This is definitely a thrower's tournament."
I mean, throw the disc well is a pretty I think it's a key for every tournament.
No,
you can't argue it.
Throw the disc well.
Well, like some tournaments, if you sort, some tournaments, if you sort by putting is what you really need to do.
Yeah, but they also probably threw the disc well.
To a certain extent, but like this stats would say this is a thrower's course.
I understand what you're saying.
Like
I'm not trying to be nitpicky. I get what you're saying.
Anyways, the players that were putting well, this is also funny. My second sentence was the players that were putting well last year didn't really seem to matter, but the ones that were throwing well were
you know what that point. You know what that kind of points to.
Stats is what that points to.
All right, calm down. You know what that kind of points to for potentially a good event here is Double G.
Potentially, I thought about it.
That could make sense.
He's got momentum right now. He's definitely a thrower.
I thought about it long and hard before I put him on my list. I didn't put him on my list, and the reason is because he just went 1-2, and I don't think he's gonna be able to do it 3 weeks in a row. That's all. That's all it is.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Not quite.
I'm a doubter. That's
he's
it.
A doubter.
That's it. There's no statistics would argue.
Doubting Thomas.
Boom.
Wow.
The second thing I have is to be aggressive because the OB rate and fairways hit didn't really correlate with performing well out there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, so OB rate and fairways hit didn't directly correlate, but
it's
strokes gained tee to green did.
So it's getting C1 in regulation.
Because there's a lot of opportunities to go for big shots, go for eagles, go for birdies on holes that other people aren't. And basically what the two stats put together show me is playing safe and making sure you're in the fairway gets you nowhere here.
Okay.
You need to be throwing the disc well and going big.
I definitely see on the course, I see a lot of places to get aggressive. I think that right there, the lack of OB on the course, other than the water, because that's really the heavy amount of it, and that's not on every hole, obviously. That is what kind of led me to my conclusion. But I get
because like the players that had like no OB, they were literally in like 40th something place.
Yeah.
The players that were up towards the top all had a few OB strokes, all had mistakes, and they also like fairway hits. You were starting to, if you had like above 93, I think Nathan Queen finished like 48th or something. He was in the mid 40s and he was above 90% fairways hit.
Yeah.
But like if you're hitting fairways and then you're not being able to get there for birdie, or you're not playing aggressive enough,
I will say this.
It doesn't matter.
I will say this to the throwers course point is I do think it is a distance course. Like I think if you have distance on this course, you can shred it, because to me, the par fours were kind of that distance where I think a lot of them looked like you could really make your upshot a lot easier. And all of the water carries were like for instance, there's a par 3 that's a 404 foot par 3, carry water pretty much the whole time. You know, for the further throwers, that's absolutely no big deal at all. Kind of similar to the par 5 that you mentioned, where now you have to take the right side. I do think there's going to be quite a few situations like that where distance throwers. I think there's also a par 3 that's like 525. You're going to see guys like Paul. I remember last year he was able to just throw a hyzer flip to turn Zeus, whereas you got a lot of guys laying down rollers trying to get it there. There is quite a few holes like that where the distance throwers will have a big advantage. Yeah.
One other point we didn't really talk about, because this is just an ongoing point, but we're still not quite to the return of Dickerson. Chris Dickerson.
I'm starting to get mad at him.
All these events, like, I mean, it is what it is. It hurts. Oh, I also this reminded me of a quick point, because we talk a lot about how exciting parity is, how exciting it is to see different players finishing towards the top, blah, blah, blah. And then people were calling us hypocrites because of the match play. Mm-hmm. They're like, you talk about how it's so great seeing all these people, blah, blah, blah. But then the match play, it's an example of all these, lower name players performing well, and you didn't seem to care. Well, why I care at the Pro Tour events is these, Gannon Burrs, Joel Freeman, Garrett Gurthie. They're beating good players. Like, if you show up to a I don't care about a C tier. If, not calling a match play a C tier, but like Greg Barsby won the Minnesota Majestic. We didn't really talk about it because who did he beat? Yeah. If the players aren't there, there's no one to beat, then the parity doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's not really, you can't really call it parity if there aren't the good players that the other players are rising up to.
Yeah, because then that's
what makes it parity.
It's really easy to look at that tournament and be like, well, yeah, but because the majority of the top 10 in the world weren't there.
If you took an event and you took the top 5 players in the world and scratched them out, man, you're going to have crazy parity.
Yeah, it looks
because
wild.
all the more inconsistent players are now the ones that are in the mix. Like
But that's not that's why it doesn't get me excited, because of course it was other people playing well, because guess who wasn't there? The normal people. So I mean, you can say, if you still think we're a hypocrite, is what it is. I mean, then you just don't get it. But I had to make that point, because I saw several comments and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah,
I get excited when I see a player like Garrett Gurthie win, or Simon Lizotte even this year come out like that and win, when they're beating the Rickies, Pauls, Calvins, Chris, Eagle, like players like that. when they're beating the players that have been consistent for so long, consistently at the top, that's exciting. If it's an event where no one shows up to and someone wins, like some of the Silver Series have been in the past, then it's like, okay, but like no one was there.
That makes sense.
So yeah, of course they won because someone had to. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Which kind of brings us to this point about Chris, where it's like, man, we need more.
Yeah.
We want more players at these tournaments.
Chris is definitely, arguably the best player in the world. One of, for sure, the best players in the world. And when he's not at events, it does kind of. Now, with one player missing and it being something like Eagle not being there really sucks, because I would love to see what this field looks like with Eagle this year. Chris, it's just his decision.
He's our world number 1.
So like he's not. I don't think he is anymore.
On you just or he's
UDisc.
2. Is he 2 on?
I'm talking about our power rankings.
Well, our power rankings, yeah, he's not ours, but he probably would be if he was still playing.
If he was still playing, he would, but there's no way to know because he could
Yeah.
also be playing and finishing 15th every week.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his play. He keeps his name in the hat the longer he doesn't play. Because then it's like, but like, think if Dickerson was here though.
Yeah.
Similar to
I
Kristen.
mean,
Similar to Kristen.
It's so hard because like I am not mad at Chris directly because
you are.
like
No, you're
I respect
Go ahead and
I
say
respect what he's doing. Like he's taking time off, spend time with
You don't
family,
respect
take a
him.
breather. But I'm mad at the situation, so I'm mad at him indirectly because it's like we're missing you at these big events. There's not that many Pro Tour events, you know? Like there's plenty of these Silver Series scattered in, but the actual Pro Tour events, there's not that many of them. Like, can't you play them all?
He'll be back at Idlewild, man. We're almost there.
I know.
The way I feel about Chris, and this might not make any sense, is I've always been a big Chris Dickerson fan. I love him so much.
I'm a big
But I
fan.
feel like I know that he wins. I know that he's really good, but sometimes I feel like if you blink, you'll miss Chris winning.
Yeah.
Now, what do you mean by
It's
that?
because
That's what I don't
here's
know.
why,
I feel
Konner.
like I
Here's
know
why.
he's
It's because
good,
he
but I
wins-
never.
It's because he wins a couple and then he bounces.
I think
and
that's
you don't
it.
see
I
him
think
for a
that's
few
it.
months. Like that's what.
And so,
what it
like, I
is.
know for a fact.
I don't understand the point that's being.
It's
like,
just like
you forget that he's good. You forget that he
Oh, okay,
won. Like
okay.
because
Yeah,
he
that-
won the
that
major
was
this
just
year.
like-
The only major we've had, he
Champions
won.
Cup, yeah.
And like you forget because he just
He's
kind of
undefeated
bounces.
at majors.
You're not. Yeah.
Nah.
No. Wait. What?
Well, you.
What did you say?
we only
Oh,
won
this
major.
year.
He's
This year.
undefeated
I was like,
at majors. Yeah. He's undefeated at majors this year.
yeah.
It's
Want
just-
to know.
I was confused. Blinking, you miss him. I was confused. What you. the
I'm
essence of what
not.
you're
That's
saying.
what,
I
I'm not
agree.
even really sure. Trevor helped me out with it.
Yeah.
I'm not even really sure.
I
what meant by
agree
it, but
with
that's
it.
how I feel.
Because it's similar to, we've had this with other players in the past where they like slowly creep up there, or even Paul sometimes. I think Paul's in a little bit of the opposite situation, which like this year he is having a down year.
Yeah, this year he's actually.
But in the
not
past,
playing good.
if he was finishing like 3rd, 4th, 5th, and like only having one win, because you expect Paul to be up there so much, and the same thing can be said for Ricky at times.
yeah.
When they have like a little bit of a slump, like right now, I would say he's actually
in an
a slump.
actual slump.
But when they have a little bit of a slump, it like makes you feel like, dude, Paul's having a really off year. Like 2016, you're like, he had a really off year. But if you look back at 2016 now, you're like, that was actually a pretty solid year.
I'm at the point where my Paul slump timeline is like, so he starts not playing so well, and at first it's like, well, I'll still count him in any given week, right? I'm at the point now where I'm almost not even. I'm like still like I'll count him in if it's a major. Excuse me, but I'm at the point where it's like I don't even know if I'm ready to even think about him like winning the preserve.
So I'm gonna just read his season so far. So he came out the gates, won Waco.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm only going to read Silver Series and Pro Tour. Won Waco, 2nd at the Silver Series the next weekend at the Open at Belton, 8th at Texas State's, 9th at Champions Cup, came back to a Pro Tour, lost in a playoff, Jonesboro Open, then followed that up with a 51st at DDO, then went 7th at a Silver Series.
That was tough.
There wasn't really that many people there, I don't think.
That was tough. Which one was that?
Masters Cup.
Well, it is Masters Cup, but that's still tough.
Yeah, because
Masters Cup is kind of weird though.
Because the field after Paul was the highest rated player. Then it went Matty O, Gannon Bird, James Konner. So a lot of people weren't there.
There were some guys though.
But for Paul to come 9th.
Yeah, tough.
Or 7th it is. Sorry, 7th.
Yeah.
Then went 19th at OTB.
That's real tough.
5th at Portland Open. And then 14th at Beaver State Fling.
And that one too.
Yeah, like
Those
that's
Silver Series,
that's a slump
man.
for Paul.
Yeah.
That's a slump.
He just hasn't contended since Jonesboro.
Jonesboro, he tied at Jonesboro.
It was Calvin,
And then he won Waco.
T-pad. He hasn't come back since
He
the
hasn't come
T-pad
back
slip.
to the T-pad.
It just ruined his confidence.
Yeah. So
Man, it's
an official
so
slump.
upsetting.
It's an
it's an
official
official
slump.
slump.
It's so upsetting.
Certified slump.
I know, I know he's gonna figure it out.
No, like especially when we get to the East Coast swing.
Yeah.
Because this is what Paul always does.
Yeah.
If he has a bad stretch, it's the stretch we're in.
Yeah.
The West Coast for some reason. If he has a bad stretch, sometimes he goes through the West Coast and he's still dominant.
Yeah.
But it's if we reach the end of the season and Paul is still in this slump, there's something going on.
If he hasn't
because
won,
you don't get to the East Coast. East Coast Paul is very hard to beat. Even when we hit like Idlewild, Ledgestone, like that type of tournament over, and when we go to Europe this year, European Open, Paul.
If
Yeah.
if he goes to the European Open and doesn't perform there, that's like his stomping grounds. That is where I'm gonna be like, what?
Yeah,
That's where
now
like,
I know that he was dealing with some type of like minor elbow injury, but it's been about a month now at least.
And I want to say
maybe even
I want to
two.
say no. I want to say that was before he almost won Jonesboro as well.
I think you're right.
So like
that goes back to April.
yeah, because I think that was like during Champions Cup that he was talking about that.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, who knows? But yeah,
That's
it's just
what makes it
frustrating.
difficult.
You're right. It was Champions Cup because then he shot the 16 under.
Because here's
with
the
it.
thing: the fact is, Hunter, that he's been like changing his putt up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That means it's not. That
That's
tells
bad
me
news.
it's more up here than.
No,
than
I
you are.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm just saying, like, whenever we say something, people are like, "Well, he's injured." I'm like, "Well, but."
Everybody's injured. You know.
Well, no, like, but we never really got a full story of what the injury
Yeah.
is. So if he is injured and it's going on for this long, he shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, if you're injured in disc golf, then either like take a break or show me the surgery, show me the receipts, or else because everybody's got a lingering arm injury. But like, yeah, and I bet you probably do have a lingering arm injury because you play disc golf professionally and you throw every day. Like, yeah, you probably do hurt yourself from time to time.
What's difficult to me is that I feel like Paul whenever he gets into like one of his little slumps at least, he never climbs his way back up. It's one tournament that he just wins and then
Yeah.
he's back.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so
so hard to
hard
predict.
to go through these because I like every single time we have to do predictions.
You're like,
I'm
well, surely this could be the one that he wins.
it's been too long. This has got to be the one that Paul comes back.
And here's the thing, because
Because I want him so bad for
during
preserve.
this slump, we've seen good rounds, but
We've seen great rounds. We've seen one of the best rounds of all time.
I don't believe we've seen him. I think it's been a while since we've seen him like, okay, we're going into the last round and he's within like a couple strokes.
No, it's been a lot of like he's back. Other than Jonesboro, it's been a lot of he's far back and then he does something crazy.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, get him into winning time.
Like Champions Cup, he shot a 16 under at WR Jackson.
Yeah.
Which we just played there for a bogey
All
row
he
battle.
needed was to do something acceptable the day before.
But he finished ninth. Like
Yeah.
a 16 under got him to ninth.
The round before was like
He
atrocious.
shot over par.
Yeah.
He shot one over.
It is.
That's crazy how
If
you
you get
can
him in
do
winning
that.
time in the final round, I think he'll still be.
Yeah,
the
if
guy
he
to
can
beat.
smell blood in the water, I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
He just has got to get where he can smell some
You
blood.
better get it around before these majors come around, because like it's just not the same when you don't have the.
No, here's what will make it an official shocking slump is if he's not 1 or 2 at Worlds.
Yeah, because
If he finishes outside the top
that's
2
true.
at Worlds,
That's
been
that is.
we're in what year 11
I
of him
really-
being 1 or 2. Is that what we're in?
Yeah, I really want him to have a redemption arc at Worlds this year, because what happened to him last year was just so grueling. Like what an awful way.
Well,
to
the
have
crazy
to
thing
lose.
too to still think is like he's still going to be one of the favorites at European Open. He's always going to be one of the favorites at Worlds. He's always going to be one of the favorites at USDGC.
Like he could
if
still
he wins
win.
2 of those 3 majors and picks up like 1 or 2 more Pro Tours, he might have the best season.
If he wins, well, yeah. I mean,
If he's able to win 2 majors,
if he wins
and
2
like
majors,
2 to 3 Pro Tours, it's going to be hard to argue someone had a better season.
yeah,
than
I
him.
would say 2 majors and 2 pro tours.
But I mean, that's obviously it's asking a lot.
Yeah,
But at the same time, like European Open, no matter what goes on between now and then, I'm probably picking Paul to win.
yeah.
Worlds, no matter what goes on between now and then,
dominates.
I'm definitely putting him in my top 3. USDGC, that's such a flip of a
Yeah,
coin.
USDGC,
Probably still
dude.
putting him in my top 3 though.
Going back to back at USDGC though.
Top 3.
Yeah, no, top 3.
USDGC is very tough.
Yeah, it's impossible. But I was saying like USDGC is one of those where like if you go back to back at USDGC, like that's crazy.
I mean, it's similar to last year. His USDGC, his playoff at Worlds, and then USDGC win like changed the scope of his season to a certain extent. Like it can happen to anyone, you know. All right, let's get into some predictions. So the points, we didn't update the points last 2 weeks ago now because I wasn't here. So quick point update going into this week. Trevor is in last at 38 points coming in. Konner is at second at 47 points coming in. And I currently hold the lead at 73 points coming into this week. So let's get into some predictions.
Hunter's taking off. There's no. I don't
Trevor,
think
let's
there's
start
any
with
catching
you.
Hunter.
Okay,
MPO.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my third place. I'm going to give it to the return of Ricky. It's so hard to know, but I don't ever like betting against Rick. And I know he's going to be just so excited to get out there. And here's one thing everybody's forgetting is, yeah, his knee could be whatever, but his arm's probably going to be pretty fresh. His arm's going to be fresh. He's going to be ripping sidearms all over the place. Hard to bet against Ricky. Second, I'm going to take Simon. Tough not to take him to win. He almost won 2 years ago, if you remember. He kind of came down to the last hole. But he's red hot right now. This course suits his game. To win, I'm going to take Gannon Burr.
Oh.
He's performed here in the past. Such a good thrower of the disc. Lethal, very spinny putt. If there's any wind, that putt is not going to have a problem with it. I can just picture him just canning 45 footers all over this course. He's another guy right now where it's hard to get bet against him.
Yeah.
He's just been so solid.
Yeah, those are solid picks. Konner, MPO.
So I actually had the same top 3, different order though.
Oh, okay.
Very, very difficult. So I picked Ricky to win.
Okay.
I think he's going to be back with a
Wow.
vengeance. This just feels very Rick. And then I wanted so badly to put Paul in second, but I think I'm going to go Gannon. I was switching between the two. And I'm going to let my emotions not get the best of me. I'm going to say Gannon. And then I've got Simon in third.
All right.
Because, I feel like that's just a good spot for him.
All right. I went a little off the radar here.
Okay.
Okay.
So I've got Simon Lizotte coming in third.
Okay.
Pretty typical. I think not putting Simon. I had to put Simon in my top 3 because there's a solid chance he wins.
Yes.
Similar thing for second place, Ricky Wysocki.
Okay.
Had to put him in my top 3 because I think there's a solid chance he wins. First place. This player performed well here last year, and then he made an Instagram post that just exudes confidence.
Paul
So,
Macbeth.
I
No.
know exactly who you
Said,
took.
I'm throwing the disc and putting better than ever
You're
before.
a crazy
I'm excited for
person.
these upcoming Pro
It's
Tour
AB.
events. Anthony Barella
There's no chance.
is taking down this tournament.
There's no chance.
Look at last year. He performed very well out here.
I
Hey,
saw him up
this
there.
might be
He's-
our chance, Trevor.
Listen.
Do we make some kind of bet here
No.
where he?
I'm
where
not
he can
taking
lose?
any
He
bets.
won't take it.
I don't trust
he's
it that
he's
much,
gonna sit
but
on his lead.
Anthony Barella, I think this is his first Pro Tour win.
I love AB. Like I think I'd be so happy for him if he won, but I don't think he's a winner.
Here's what we'll do.
I don't think
I'm
he's a
willing to
winner.
put food on it.
I'm gonna be gone next week, so you guys can.
Konner.
All right.
If AB loses, I buy you Wendy's. If AB wins, you buy me Chick-fil-A.
I mean, you got to take that.
All right.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
I mean, you got to take
so
that.
you'll owe me Chick-fil-A if AB wins. If AB loses, I'll buy you Wendy's.
Do you just want to make it Chick-fil-A?
No, because that's one to one
understand.
ratio.
I understand.
I feel like I'm risking.
No, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Yeah, so I feel like I should owe you less.
I
than
understand.
You owe me. Yeah,
I just don't think AB has got the chops.
we'll see.
I don't feel like he's a. I don't. I was about to say that sounds so mean, but I was just
He's
gonna say
not a
I don't
winner.
feel like he's a winner.
He's not. Not yet, though. It only takes one.
It only takes one.
It
True.
only takes
Maybe
one.
this is the one.
So
it's gonna happen.
he has the talent, but like we'll see.
It's gonna happen.
year. Let me just see what he finished last year. I looked it up.
He wasn't like crazy high up.
Last year
was
at
top
the
10,
I just
Preserve.
can't wait.
Preserve,
I just can't wait for us to talk
7.
about this on Monday.
How many
He
came
came
in
strokes off
7
the
to be
lead,
right.
was he though?
only 7.
7 strokes back.
8 strokes back.
8 strokes back. Okay.
I can't wait.
8
to
strokes
have
back.
to-
Course is harder.
There's 2 strokes harder, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, he's also playing better than he's ever played before. So that's
He
another
said
few
it.
strokes.
He said it, man. If
right
I
there.
thought that way about
But it's
Instagram
feeling
posts,
good.
I'd have Paul winning every week.
Yeah, but I haven't seen that from AB.
You're right. I saw that post too, man. I
That
just
post, I was like-
didn't think to myself, oh,
I
this
saw
guy's
it.
winning.
I saw that post, marked it in my head, and then I saw it on the PDGA where he was up there last year. I was like, Anthony Barella's taking this down.
All right. Hey, I would be ecstatic about that. I would be.
All right, on FPO, I'll just go for mine first. I've got Evelina Salonen in third. Similar, just hedging my bet play because if she putts well, I think she could win, but I don't want to put her as winning because I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to happen.
I don't
But I
think
want her in my
putting's gonna
top 3. Valerie Mandahano, I'm putting in second, hot off of 2 wins, Portland Open and Beaver State Fling. Can she go 3 in a row? Maybe. But one of those
think
two,
she
I
has
believe
the
Paige wasn't
distance.
there. So I don't know. And then I have Paige Pierce winning.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Konner.
I've got third place. I've got Owen Scoggins.
I don't think she has the distance, man.
Interesting notification.
Yeah, I saw that. They posted it like yesterday.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet.
I just went for it. You know what? I feel like third place is almost crapshoot, so I just went for it.
That's fair.
It is.
And then I keep on wanting to trade between first and second of these two, but I'm just gonna keep what's written on here. And I want to switch it up from Hunter. So I'm gonna say Paige second, Val's winning.
Man, Val
So you're not
again.
putting Evelina or Katrina Allen in this.
No,
All right.
because Katrina Allen has let me down.
thrower's course,
I
though.
pick her like
It's a thrower's
I feel like
course
I
and
pick
you
her
picked a
every,
putter.
but I pick her every week,
Yeah,
and it always hurts my feelings.
When is it? It's tough though because like we don't know where. Like with FPOTs, you never know how different the course could play. But I've got Kat in third.
Cat Allen.
Kat Allen. I've got Val in second against my better judgment because I don't think this course is going to be it for her. I don't think she throws far enough, but I'm going to do it anyways because hot streak. And then I've got Paige winning.
Okay.
It seems very much like a Page win to me.
It does seem
It
like a
did feel like
period.
that. I just
you
wanted to
see
switch it up
You just
from
feel
you
it in
guys.
the air.
It does feel like a Page win, but Val, I feel like Glendevere was required some distance, and she won there.
It did. I think she's getting very good with her angle control, and that will help at a course like this because there are a lot of holes at the preserve where landing area is crucial. Not just avoiding the water on certain ones, but getting yourself in the correct position. And she's gotten very good at controlling her angles and using flippier discs to gain that distance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's nobody in the FPO that throws a hyzer flip like her. She's gotten very good at it.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
All right, Trevor, what's your dark horse pick?
Gavin Babcock. He's been pretty streaky. He actually would have won me the dark horse at Portland. He came tied for 17th. So he's been very streaky, but he's got the talent to finish well.
Easy pick for me. I went Casey White. He's flipping in and out of top 50s. So if he's
Top 50s
at the top 50s of the
You said it right.
of the rankings.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about like at events.
No, like he's in and out of the top 50.
okay, I thought I said something really dumb for a second.
I thought you meant like at events. I'm like, well, that's not that good. But
No, he's been and so whenever he's out of the top 50, then I want to. That's such an aggressive yawn.
I'm sorry, I was tired.
tired of your.
So
crap,
Casey
dude.
White.
Casey White. All right, I'm going. Brody took it down for me last week or last time we did this. I'm going right back to him.
realistically, Brody is probably
Brody
the best
Smith.
pick week to week because his world ranking is criminal.
Yeah, back to him. Take it down, Broderick.
Come on, Brody.
I could see Brody finishing very well at this.
Yeah,
point.
I think he could do well here. We'll see.
I just can't wait for Worlds to be an Emporia.
There's
where
no
he
doubt
took
about
third.
it. I am ready to be heard again. All right, well, that wraps up the preview show. Hopefully you enjoyed. The live coverage will be starting tomorrow on the Disc Golf Network if you're subscribed over there. Obviously, we'll have Jomez, Gatekeeper, GK Pro, all of them will be taking down the post-produced coverage. I'll be coming out the next day, and then live will be for free on YouTube on Sunday. You're not going to miss. It's a very exciting course, very fun to watch, very easy to follow along, and typically it has a pretty good gallery there as well. So should be a good time, and yeah, we'll break it all down for you on Monday without Trevor. So I don't know why I said that because now half of you probably aren't going to click, but please do. Maybe we'll throw Silas in here. It'll get wild.
I can film like a recap clip, or you can like get me like to do like a quick recap.
We'll make him do something.
We'll
make him
something.
reclap.
Make me do something. I'll be there. I'll be in the thing at some point.
All right. Well, even if it's just a picture.
Yeah, it's like
We'll just you know what? Let's get a picture of
fake.
him and put it on Silas in real life.
That's
not
great.
Just like a printout.
okay. Yeah.
Cut the mouth hole,
That would
cut
be
two
very
eyes,
funny.
and Silas can just
That would
sit
be
there.
actually
They're basically the
sounds
same
terrifying.
person. Other than their face, they're basically the same person.
That
Yeah.
is kind of true.
Same
at this
same
point.
height.
Yeah.
I've molded him.
We'll see you next week.